got your skid plate. You've got your other paperwork.
All good. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Rich. If you need anything, give me an email, give me a call.
Okay.
So
Is it
left-handed turn? So it's actually designed to
Oh, I see.
here with the left hand.
I see, yeah.
It's awkward with the right,
and
you're
it
turning inside.
flicks back on.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then kill switch covers that, so you flick that up and then push the start.
And then I hold this on for
your aux lights, yeah.
There we go.
And now those are on. So you know too, those are going to be your auxiliary lights. That's going to be your running light.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, enjoy.
Alright, see you soon.
Looks great.
So, just picking up my brand new 2022 Ducati Multistrada V4S full stroke sport. 5 miles on the clock, and beautiful colour scheme. So looking forward to the ownership experience. Bend the mirrors a little bit so I can see what's behind me. And oh, really horrible hot day, very busy, lots of things going wrong today, and it's like 95 degrees, and I've ridden to the dealership, and then I've sat at the dealership from 4:30 to now nearly 7:10 to get away. I have no idea why these things take so long at a lot of dealerships in America. Particularly it's like 5 or 10 minutes in England, and to be fair, of other dealers I've bought from here, it's often been a very quick process, 10 or 15 minutes. See the blind spot monitoring working. That's because this is a 2022. No need to have the put that up slightly, no need to have the active cruise and blind spot monitoring invoked. It will just come as standard on the 2022s. And so there's a price increase, and that price increase is around about $2,000. Now the key thing about that to remember is that on the 2021s it didn't have it, so that was about $850 to for the software, and a further $300 or so typically for the labour costs. So typically about $1,100 to have the active cruise and the blind spot monitoring invoked on your Multistrada if you have a 2021 model. But in addition to that, prices went up as well. So if you look at the delta of that, $2,000 with $1,100 or so for labour and invoking the blind spot monitoring and active cruise, the delta is, you know, kind of $850, $900, but you'll get most of that back in residual value because you're on a 2022 model instead of 2021. So when you come to trade it, on paper at least, it looks that bit newer. So, you know, it's a bit sucky, but I'm not that upset about it, and I'll take it. But it does mean that this bike in this spec, the full sport with the enduro pack fitted, which is about $1,450, is going to cost you about $29,500. Then you've got your delivery freight and tax on top of that, so it's not cheap. It's over 30 grand out the door, and you know, that's a lot of money for bikes these days, but that's what you want when you know, what you have to pay rather, when you want heated seats and heated grips and active cruise and blind spot monitoring and a V4 engine and 9k service intervals and 36k for your valves and all that good stuff, right? It just costs money. So it is what it is, and looking forward to getting a lot of use out of this bike and doing a lot of miles. It's going to be my only bike for the coming fall and winter period through to 2022, and I'll be riding it a lot most weekends, so the miles will rack up pretty quickly. And I have a number of friends who've got the Multistrada now, from Jerry, who's probably got the highest mileage one in America. It's probably going to be about 15 to 16,000 by the time he gets back from Idaho. Eric's bike has turned up, but he's in Idaho with Jerry, so he'll get his when he comes back. And Gordy's got his, Richard's got his, and Steve's got his, so quite a few of us now. And yeah, this is going to be such a fun bike, so capable, and a great all-rounder. I'm looking forward to putting proper miles on it, and it's going to be a lot of fun to own, I think. And certainly enjoyed owning my first Ducati V4, and I think this is going to be no different. It's certainly going to be a comfortable ride, I think, and provide me with many miles of enjoyment, both in the mountains and on highways. So weather has just about held off. I'm hoping to get it home in the dry. You can see some of the cars around me have got rain spots on them, but my bike is totally dry at the moment, and I'm not too far from home, probably 10 minutes or so, and I'm kind of hoping to get this thing home in the dry, if at all possible. Temperatures have dropped to a freezing cold 86. See the blind spot monitoring going off there. So it's a bit hot for picking up new bikes, but hey, after waiting 157 days for it to arrive, I would have picked this thing up in a snowstorm. I'm so looking forward to getting this thing running and putting some decent miles on her. It feels very different from the Street Fighter I rode to the dealers. The power delivery is much softer. The ergonomics are obviously much kinder to the body, particularly the arms and leg room is much more generous. And as always, when you switch from a 17-inch front wheel to a 19-inch front wheel, it'll take take a few miles to just get comfortable with the way it steers and feels and reacts. So not very long, kind of like half an hour ride or something, and then it feels perfectly natural. The light's starting to fade a bit here, so as I get closer to my home, I'm going to have to look out for deer. All the young deer are out at the moment, and they don't really know what they're doing, so you've got to keep them peeled for that. I seem to be hitting every red traffic light as well, which is not good. We've got a brand new engine, and you want some air flowing through it because it's a hot day as well. The engine seems to be staying nice and cool, around 170 degrees, so that's nice to see. And I'm actually feeling a lot less heat off it than I did the Street Fighter on the way there, although it was a little bit hotter. They've really worked hard on the bodywork on this bike to direct heat away from the rider, and the rear cylinders, if they get too hot, will shut down also to save the rider from roasting themselves at traffic lights. So the only fly in the ointment, apart from the weight to get on the road with the bike, in terms of its delivery, 157 days, and then the sort of 2.5 hours or plus at the dealers waiting to go for all the paperwork and get the bike out the door. The only fly in the ointment is Ducati, in their infinite wisdom, shipped the saddlebags or panniers from Europe separately, and again, in their infinite wisdom, they've decided to ship them after they've shipped the bike, so they haven't turned up. Basically, I am pannier-less, if that's a word. and that's a bit of a pain because I want to go away on this straight away for a couple of overnight trips, and I want the saddlebags obviously, but it is what it is. I've got the keys for them, so that's all keyed to the original key fob, and I can get away with strapping you know, bags to the pillion seat or whatever, so that I can enjoy my ride away. The bike's got that kind of lovely smell when everything's new. It's kind of like not like a car. Well, yeah, kind of like a car. You know, like how you get a new car and it's got that new car smell inside for weeks. Well, I don't think bikes have that, but often on the first day, while everything heats up for the very first time, the engine and the water cooling and all the rest of it, and that it can give off just a slight odour to it. So it's got its own kind of smell, and it's not good, bad or indifferent, but it's just something I noticed straight away anyway. So I have to keep the speed down along here, because in these dark recesses off to the left and right, there's often deer down here. There's a big river down here, and they love to go down there and drink at night as the sun begins to fade. So I hope this will be the start of a long and lasting relationship. I have a bad track record when it comes to bikes, and end up having my head turned by the latest, coolest models. So we'll see how long this lasts, but I hope it's for a very long time. I stand by the words I said, you know, maybe a year ago, that I think this is going to be the motorcycle of the year in terms of best all-rounder and best adventure bike. And you know, we could argue about the semantics of that. If you want the lowest maintenance, you probably want the Pan America. If you want the best dirt worthy, you probably want the KTM Adventure 1290. If you want the best you know, kind of polished article, if you like, you want the BMW. But if you want something that matches the BMW in terms of comfort and practicality, but something that looks nicer and is much sportier, then this is the one. I think it's sportier than all of those bikes, better looking than all of those bikes, has additional features that the other bikes don't have in terms of, you know, active cruise and blind spot, which is really practical, and in terms of looks and performance, it beats them hands down. And of course, you know, a couple of miles from home, it's just starting to rain. It is what it is. I'm sure I won't get too wet, and the bike won't get too wet, hopefully, by the time I get home. But I'm gonna sign off now. This is just an initial first impressions, just picking up my brand new bike and running it from 4 miles to 10 miles so far. There'll be plenty more to come throughout the rest of the summer and the fall and the winter time, and I hope that you enjoy the content, and if you get the chance to ride a Multistrada yourself, you know, please do, and let me know in the comments what you thought of it, whether it was the sort of bike that you would consider buying or not, and whether you've decided to buy something different from the adventure market and why. Let me know in the comments. Alright, sayonara.
Hey you, if you want to become one of the Ride On people, don't forget to subscribe. Ride often, ride carefully, ride on.